Hey guys, it's DVD Gamer Girl here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video for you guys where I'm basically going to go through all the survivors and say what the survivor that you main says about you. And I'm not going to talk about from like a game perspective, like I'm going to talk about from a personality perspective. So this is just like a fun little video. Don't take it too seriously. It's just for fun. Just based on like what I think the survivor is like and what you might be like as a player behind the screen of that survivor. And sorry if I sound kind of off. I'm like pretty sick right now, so just, you know, bear with me on that. So let's start with Dwight. So in the game, there's two types of Dwight mains. Like one type of Dwight main is very noob, very new to the game, hides in lockers because that's what DVD tells you to do, attempts to escape from the hook, just all of those things that you're not supposed to do, but that like DVD kind of tells you to do. And then the other type of Dwight is like a very pro looper, like can even be toxic, just really good at the game. So honestly, I feel like if you're the noob type of Dwight, then I feel like you're a very shy personality. You tend to warm up to new things a little bit more slowly than the average person. You're a little bit timid when going into new endeavors, and not that that's a bad thing. It's just like you like to be more on the cautious side. And if you're one of those pro looper type of Dwights, then I think you're extremely confident. You're very set in your ways, because I feel like the people that, you know, have P3 Dwights like literally always play as Dwight. So you don't really like change. You're very set in your ways, and at least the good thing is that you're confident about that. Meg. Honestly, to me, I feel like Meg appeals to somewhat of the more athletic people just because of her lore, and just like a lot of her outfits as well kind of lean towards that. I feel like if you're Meg, you might have also had an edgy period at some point in your life, because Meg has a lot of different outfits, which to me kind of dictates a couple of like the phases of life. When it comes to the game, I feel like Megs are pretty neutral, like skill-wise. I don't feel any particular way about them. So I feel like people that play Meg more speak to how they are in real life versus to how they are in the game. Claudette. If you play Claudette, I do still feel like you're a very introverted type of person, because Claudette does have the very blendette stereotype of hiding a lot and kind of crouching around the game. And I feel like if that's your play style, then you probably are very introverted in real life as well, which speaks to Claudette's backstory. So you probably relate to her in some regard and want to play her for that reason. Of course, I know there are a lot of Claudettes that don't just hide around the map, but and a lot of like big DVD YouTubers also main Claudette. But I still think that overall Claudette still speaks to the more introverted gamer over anything. Jake. I feel like if you play Jake, you're probably one of the lone wolf type of people in your life. Jake is not that much of a played character as some of the other like older original DVD survivors. So I do feel like you're somewhat of an outlier, not in a bad way, but in a lone wolf independent type of way. Jake's backstory also really speaks to this. I also think Jakes are not selfish or toxic, and they're very much team players, so this probably applies to your real life as well. Nia. I feel like if you're Nia, you are definitely edgy to some degree. Like, if you are not edgy at all, I would be very surprised if you main Nia. Because Nia, like, regardless of what outfit she's wearing, she has like a very like grungy, edgy vibe, and I think it's really cool. So I feel like if you're Nia, you're cool. And another thing is you might be a big Noob 3 fan, because I feel like a lot of people that used to watch Noob 3 a lot made Nia because of him, which kind of leads me to believe that you probably research and watch a lot of gameplay videos when you're initially getting into a game or when you're into that game, because if you started playing DBD from watching Noob 3, or if you were interested in Noob's videos while you were into DBD, I think that kind of points to your personality being that kind of type as well, of really loving a game and watching a lot of content related to that game when you're into it. If you're a Bill main, I kind of have a feeling that you really like shooter type games like Left 4 Dead, and maybe you even got into DBD not thinking you would really like that game and it might not be your style of game, but then surprisingly you did get really into it even though it's not a shooter game at all. And I also think if you main Bill, you kind of stick to what you know and what you like, because you probably just really like his character from the game that he's from, and you want to stick to that despite the fact that you're playing a different game, so you're confident in what you like, which is awesome. David, I feel like if you're a David main, you're like very confident in who you are as a person, and I feel like you pretty much probably exclusively main David. And I think you also take some bold and daring risks in life, because that's the kind of vibe that I get from David in the game. So I assume if you main him, you probably are like that in real life as well. And David also has a lot of like really confident, bold outfits. So you probably really like that about him, and you might have some daring choices in your clothing in real life as well. Laurie. I feel like if you main Laurie, you're definitely a horror movie fan. Maybe Myers is like your favorite horror series. It may or may not be, but you are definitely a diehard horror movie fan in real life. And you like to play any games that have horror related elements. And if anything has Myers in it, you're all for it, and you probably main Laurie because of the movie specifically. I really doubt there are people that main Laurie that have no association with the Halloween movies. If you main Feng, the vibe that I kind of get from you is you're very sweet and caring, but you're also a very strong person. I feel like that's the kind of vibe that Feng gives off in the game. She has a lot of really cutesy outfits, but she also has a lot of really bold, confident outfits. And her history and her backstory, I mean, make her seem like a pretty dedicated person. So I feel like if you're a Feng, you're kind of an all-rounded type of person. You are sweet, you're strong, you are very dedicated to what you do in life, and you just like enjoy also cool outfits. You probably have some daring fashion in life as well. Quentin. I feel like if you main Quentin, you're also definitely a horror movie fanatic, and you probably really enjoyed Nightmare Before Elm Street. Quentin is such a rare survivor to see that I feel like that people that do main Quentin definitely do it for his movie. If you main Quentin, I also feel like I still get that lone wolf type of vibe that I get from Jake, because not that many people main Quentin. So you're definitely independent and you have that type of lone wolf streak in you somewhere. Tapp. I feel like if you main Tapp, I really don't feel like it's so much for the movie. I feel like you are definitely just more of a confident person. Like you have a sense of duty and responsibility in your life, and you just apply that to all aspects of your life. That's just the kind of vibe that I get from Tapp, honestly. I feel like you always tend to do the right thing, and that's kind of what Tapps in the game also turn out to be, in my opinion. I've rarely ever seen a toxic Tapp. Usually they're just trying to be altruistic, get along with everyone, get the objectives done. So you're probably very straight to the point and you get things done. Adam. I feel like if you main Adam, you definitely gravitate towards the intellectual side of things. That's the kind of vibe that I get from Adam, especially from his backstory. And Adams like usually operate very uniquely in DBD matches, and you don't really see Adam that much as well. Also, all of the Adams have like really interesting and different fashion sense. So I kind of get that like bookworm, introverted, but highly intellectual vibe from Adam mains. Jeff. I feel like if you main Jeff, one of the biggest factors for you probably is that he's one of the Canadian characters, because I have heard that from multiple people that if they're Canadian, they do relate to Jeff a lot. Another thing that I feel like about Jeff mains is that you probably have that kind of grungy rocker type vibe in real life, because a lot of Jeff's outfits kind of speak to that, and his overall vibe speaks to that. And you're probably into certain bands, and any bands that you're into, you like dedicatedly listen to them, you'll attend their concerts and everything. You might just be into music in general as well, and you probably have a very leather jacket, motorbike type of fashion sense, in my opinion. Honestly, I feel like if you main Nancy, you are a Stranger Things fan, and you play her because you adore her character in the show, and you just love being able to play her in the game as well. I think you, probably in real life, you're probably pretty ambitious. You're funny, you are imperfect, but you realize that, and you embrace that. Steve. I feel like if you're a Steve main, again, you are a big Stranger Things fan, and you really do enjoy playing his character in this game for your love of that show. But I also think you have a very confident personality, like very bold, comes across however you want to. So you might come off as overconfident or somewhat of a jerk at first, but when people get to really know the real you, you're actually a sweetheart on the inside. And honestly, you guys, I freaking hate Steve, but like, you know, maybe the fact that I've run into so many toxic Steves is just because I don't know those people in real life. Like maybe they're actually sweet in real life, but they're kind of like diehard DBD gamers, like I don't know. And I feel like if you play Jonathan Byers, you are probably very passionate, very emotional. You always stand up for the right thing. And I feel like you are a little bit quieter and more introverted than Steve, for sure. Yui. I feel like if you main Yui, you're very bold, you're very confident, you like to break stereotypes, and you like to break boundaries. And I feel like you completely move in life with a very determined path. That's the vibe that I get from Yui's character, Yui's outfits. She's like definitely girl boss type energy. And I just really, you know, I think that that's what Yui mains are in real life too, with that confidence. Zarina. If you main Zarina, I definitely feel like you're unique because not that many people main Zarina. And I also feel like you have a good fashion sense because Zarina has some like really unique outfits that vary all over the place. So you probably apply that to your real life as well. And you're not afraid to question things, and you will definitely speak your mind no matter the situation. So yeah, Spars 97, this definitely applies to you. I feel like if you play Cheryl, James, Cybil, Lisa, or Alessa, you're definitely a big Silent Hill fan, and that is your primary reason for playing these characters. And also for all of these characters, I definitely do feel like you might have gone through some things in your life before, but you've come out very strong on the other side. And just because you're quiet, and you might be quiet and shy and introverted, it does not mean that you don't have self-confidence and a very strong sense of purpose in your life. That's the vibe that I get from all of these characters. I'm not going to be going into any more detail than that because I don't really know Silent Hill that well, but that's just my analysis right now. Felix. If you mean Felix, I feel like you definitely have self-confidence, and you probably really enjoy dressing up and have a really good fashion sense in life. I feel like you might also kind of be leaning towards a corporate type of job. That's definitely the vibe that I get from Felix as well. But you are very good at maintaining your composure, maintaining professionalism, and you just have a really good fashion sense. Yun-Jin. If you play Yun-Jin, you 1000% have a very bold and eclectic type of fashion sense. You are not afraid to kind of experiment with new looks and try to break the boundaries of what's considered normal. I also just think you are very confident in anything that you do, and you live your life with a great sense of purpose. Jill. I feel like if you play Jill, you are definitely 1000% a Resident Evil fan. Like, there is no question about it. You're definitely very bold and daring as well. I will say the same, honestly, about Sheva and Claire. You are a huge Resident Evil fan. You were really excited about these characters being in the game. Maybe you even started playing DBD because of this chapter. You probably really enjoy any type of horror games. You really like action games, and you get really attached to the characters and the storyline, and you really enjoy a good story in a game, and you're very brave and confident in your real life as well. Leon, again, I do feel like you are a huge Resident Evil fan. Same thing applies where you might have started playing DBD because of Resident Evil chapter. You just really like horror games. Especially for Leon in particular. I feel like if you play Chris or Carlos, it's very similar, especially for Chris. But I do feel like if you play Carlos, it gives me more of the lone wolf type of vibe, very independent, because I don't think I've ever seen a Carlos. Like, I definitely see Leon's a ton. I have seen Chris sometimes as well, but Carlos is so rare that it just gives me like that lone wolf type of vibe. I might be wrong, but yeah. Yoichi. If you play Yoichi, you are 1000% like a horror movie fanatic, and you really loved watching The Ring, and you were probably really excited when The Ring chapter came out. You just love horror movies, and you love seeing these characters like present in different games. And that's pretty much it about Yoichi in my opinion. Vittorio. If you're a Vittorio main, I feel like you are very confident. You have a great sense of fashion, 1000%. You probably were also one of the people that was simping over Vittorio when his trailer released before he even came out in the game. You think he's really hot, but in some ways he also does embody your personality as well. You're not afraid to push the boundaries. Rebecca. Again, if you're Rebecca, I feel like you are a huge Resident Evil fan. Rebecca also kind of gives me very confident but cute vibes at the same time. So even if you're very brave, you also give a very cute attitude, but that doesn't mean that people should mess with you. Ada is also huge Resident Evil fan players in my opinion. All of the same stuff applies as that I said for Jill and Leon, but I think the people that play Ada are extra confident compared to the ones that play the other Resident Evil characters. Ada is just a very badass girl boss type of vibe, and she is a little bit more unique, I feel like, compared to how much I see Jill's and Leon's. So I feel like you're a little bit more independent and confident in that sense. Haddie. I feel like if you main Haddie, you're very confident in your own self-worth, and you tend to kind of vary from what the general population tends to like or enjoy. Because I feel like when Haddie initially came out, a lot of people were saying her character design is not good, her outfits could be better, which I do agree with as well. I really don't like her outfits, but I feel like if you continued to main Haddie throughout all of those negative things that people were saying about her character, you're definitely very confident in your own decisions and your self-worth, which I think is pretty cool. And you might also have a little bit of interest in the paranormal, so maybe her backstory does appeal to you as well. Jonah. So if you main Jonah, you give me extremely corporate type vibes. That's just the kind of thing that I get from Jonah. Like maybe you're a dad or something. That's kind of how I feel about his character. Like he just gives me like extremely dad vibes. I know he has like some gym bro type of outfits as well, but I feel like those are like not his main type of attraction. So I kind of just feel like you're a dad. Mikaela. I feel like if you're Mikaela, then there's a couple things about you. You might actually care about zodiac signs, and you might be one of those people that are like, oh, you're a Cancer. That kind of explains why you're like the way that you are. But I also think that you have like a very cool fashion sense. You are not afraid to try different types of styles. You're very bold and confident in what you wear in your life. You probably do have a little bit of a introverted bookworm type of vibe to yourself as well. You might take an interest in some spiritual topics which don't always appeal to everyone, but you are very interested in otherworldly type things. Elodie. I feel like if you're an Elodie main, you are also very confident. I know I've been saying that for a lot of them, but Elodie definitely gives me that as well. Because if you're still maining Elodie to this day, then you definitely did not just pick her up as a fad. Like, I feel like a lot of people were just playing Elodie when her Christmas outfit was trending, like kind of like a couple of years ago or whenever that was. But if you still main Elodie, then you really like her as a character. You like her character design. So I do feel like you stick to the things that you like in real life, despite, you know, other people's trends come and go, but you maintain what you like and you're very confident in that. Ash. So with Ash, you are probably an Evil Dead fan. I feel like that's 1000% why you play this character, but I feel like you're also very passionate about playing this character. And you're probably, I feel like you're a little bit goofy or a little bit funny and unique. You have an attachment to this character. So if anyone says anything bad about him, you immediately come to his defense and say why you enjoy playing him. I feel like you just have like a really quirky type vibe, and not in a bad way. Like, I mean that in the best way possible. You are probably actually the type of person where if the room is kind of silent, you would try to crack a joke to break the tension. Jane. So if you main Jane, you definitely are very self-confident. I feel like you have kind of boss vibes. Like, you really want to be successful in life, and you have a lot of determination in what you want to do in your life and a lot of purpose. Kate. If you main Kate, I feel like there's got to be some little part of you that is a country girl inside. And that doesn't mean that you like country music or like, you know, you wear a cowboy hat or something, but there's some aspect of her outfits and vibe that you like, whether it be her boots or, you know, just like her guitar and her background. Maybe you like her tattoos, like I don't know. But generally, I feel like you are very sweet and caring towards people, but you're also not afraid to stand up for yourself. Ace. So if you're an ace, you are hilarious. Like, you're probably the life of the party. You're really funny. You're really just like have a dynamic personality. And, you know, your humor and your vibe might not align well with necessarily everyone, but the people who like you really like you, and the people who dislike you probably really dislike you, but you're unapologetic in the type of person that you are. All right, I think that pretty much sums up all of the survivors. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I know I've made like what your killer main says about you type of video before, but I definitely did that more so as in like what it says about you in the game rather than in real life. So if you'd kind of like me to do like a like little personality assessment of the killers as well in a future video, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments of any tier list ideas you have, like any other video ideas you have, gameplay content, DVD or otherwise. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.